All right, guys, how's everybody doing today? Looks like we got a nice evening, nice little collection of people. John asked me to put this kind of on for just to kind of talk about some marketing. I touched on a little bit about it last week with a couple people. Just want to preface this saying that I'm certainly not a guru or an expert by any means, but I have done marketing for myself and for various companies I've owned and for working for others, for almost 30 years. So I know enough to be dangerous. And so I'll share some learnings and some things that I've done over the years and try to do a little bit of a higher level concept talk today, especially because I was going through some of the questions and comments in the different groups in Facebook. It seems like a lot of people are really struggling with, just overall marketing, like how do I do this and what's going on? I know there's some people that are involved with the comment suite, and then some of you are not. So I'm just going to talk about how to do how to think about an offer and how to do higher ticket. And then the last thing I'll say is my agency. I was formerly partnered with another person in a previous agency using Go High Level for quite a while. And then we kind of broke ways. So I'm basically starting over again. So I'm basically going to be learning all over again along with everybody else here. So with that, having said that, I will be kind of referencing some notes I wrote for today, and we'll get going. So the big thing that I want to say is marketing does not have to be complicated, and we tend to overcomplicate, like most things in our lives, right? We tend to overcomplicate everything and try to think too far ahead or try to make it bigger than it really is. And there's all kinds of neat cliche things that people teach you in marketing where you say like elevator pitches, which is the 1 minute pitch, right? I've never really liked that saying, but it's true. Like if you can't pitch your services in a minute or less, it's going to be really hard to do any kind of sales or any kind of demo. So the reason why I bring that up is when you're doing cold email marketing or database reactivation or any kind of initial cold prospecting, the mindset you need to create is think of it as if you just happen to bump into somebody and make a quick offer, and that offer to be compelling. So in other words, let's say the typical elevator, but that person in the elevator is a buyer, or for a fact that they work at a company that you could sell your services to. So what could you say to them in 1 minute or in that ride that would make them go, tell me more? And that is kind of the mindset you need to have when you're doing all of your cold outreach, all your cold marketing, especially in the high level when you're doing emails or text-based reach out. And I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So John and I both have some experience in the insurance space. So a lot of people will go out and do an email and saying, hey, I've got all these leads, I can do this for you. And they do this really complicated email with no kind of interaction, or there's no kind of people, there's no interaction. You don't know this person. And it's this long email and boom, you're gone. Especially in today's world, nobody has that kind of attention span. So I've tried to make things go like this. I would say either in a text message or in an email, you would say something like, and I'm going to use the 20 free leads thing as an example, but it works across the board. So it would be say, hey, I can send you the contact info for up to 1,000 people that are your ideal prospects. Can I send you a free sample of 20 of them? That's real quick. It's to the point, right? There's no fluff there. We know exactly what I'm offering. And if that's compelling to you, then we can go more, or tell me more, or how do you get these leads? Those are all buying and selling questions. But if you notice, that's it. It's just a very simple, I have this. Can I give you that? Can I give you a free sample? It's either yes or a no. And then you'll waste a lot less time. And that's something that people can digest quickly, because, everybody gets 100 emails every day trying to pitch something. And I don't know about you guys, but like in my LinkedIn and all the emails I get, most pitches I get suck. They always tell me how great their company is, or all the crazy things they can do for me, but yet none of those are actually my pain points. So it'd be a lot easier if somebody said, I provide this value, this is what it costs, or this is what I can do for you. Do you have an interest? And then we can take the conversation forward. So it's a really strong premise that you need to really focus in on. And especially as you niche down, and I'm going to kind of harp on that a little bit as well. The more you understand your market, the more you understand who it is that you're actually talking to. And of course, the more you deal with them, the more you'll understand what their pain points are. The more you can just laser focus, get in there and say, I know that you guys have these issues. I can solve it using this. Would you be interested in hearing more about it? That is really the bottom line premise to that whole thing. Okay. So putting a pin in that, what we also need to figure out too is, what are we offering here? So, we spent all this time trying to build up an audience. We've got our audience, we have our niche, we know who we're marketing to. What are we actually selling? Especially with high level, there's so many features and there's so many things that we can sell that it sometimes gets lost in the messaging, or the client goes, it's so much. So I think a big mistake a lot of us get trapped into is we are selling the solution, meaning like, hey, we have this software tool. This is what you end up selling. And that's a wrong approach. What you need to be doing is selling an answer to their pain point. The software is just a tool, and it could be any tool, right? It just happens to be that we're using Go High Level. But you really want to focus in on like, okay, I solve this, I work in this niche, I solve these problems. You need more lead generation, or I need more review, or whatever hyper focused thing you're entering the discussion with. You take that and then you just go all in, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, all right. So what I really wanted to focus on is just having everybody just say, really understand like what are you trying to solve, and how to communicate that message as simply and as quickly as possible. I can provide you leads, or I can do Google reviews. No mention of price, just really focused on that one thing. Okay. And so the other problem I see in the marketing too is everybody's kind of selling like these low end. There's nothing wrong with this, by the way. Everybody's selling like this low end price points, $47, $97 for their SaaS plan. And that's a business model that I don't particularly enjoy. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's fantastic. But I think we have another person that sells high ticket. I think it's Angelica. So I sell high ticket as well. I'd much rather have 5 clients that I know very well, that I like, that I charge them $5,000 up front, and then we work with them and I build them out a marketing plan, than having 100 people paying me $100. I want to go for quality over quantity. So the reason why I bring that up, because I know that's not everybody's model. The reason I bring that up is to try to elevate everybody's mindset. Going back to the original offer, find out what you're going to offer. What is your lead in? And then how much could you possibly charge for that? Like, what is the value of that? And for example, let's say that you're going to be a lead gen. You're going to do lead gen for them. And because of the industry, that I can give you over the next 12 months, I can make you an additional $100,000 in top line revenue. So if I charged you $20,000, would that be worth it to you? Well, everybody's going to say, yeah, of course. That just makes perfect sense. Then the only question then becomes is, how do you structure that offer, right? And how do you make it so that that customer or that client, is happy? Now, whether that's upfront money over the month to month, or however you want to structure that, is up to you. But think larger, and then you'll have the money and the marketing and the budget to offer all these additional add-on services, because you'll have the margin, right? If you're selling something for $97 or less, the minute that person talks to you or has a support question, you just lost money. Now you're in the red, because there's no margin there. So you're trying to make it up in volume. So I always try to tell everybody, lift it up, try to find the big thing. What's the big premise, the one big thing you can help your niche do, and really go all in on that, and not even focus on all the other tools. So when you do that discovery call, say, hey, I can do this for you. Here's what it costs. Here's what I can do for you. And oh, by the way, through the discovery, I found out you don't have anything reviews. You don't have chat. You don't have the power dialer. You don't have all these other things that you can do, but you can just put those in there. And those are all upsells or downsells, depending on how you're going to position yourself. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense to everybody as well. That's kind of how I like to play it. So, and the other thing in marketing, what we want to figure out too is you don't want to try to create demand. You want to find the channels for it. So a lot of people think marketing is demand gen, which it sort of is, where you're saying, well, I'm going to create all this buzz. Well, that's really only true for a startup, like a Silicon Valley startup or some new product. You're trying to create demand where there previously was none because nobody knew this product. Well, in our case, in agency life, that's really not the case. So you're not really going to create demand. There's tons of marketing agencies out there that we're competing against. So what you want to do is channel the demand. So you pick your niche, you find out their pain points, and where does those niches hang out? Where do they do? Like how do they work? And then you go out and you whether that's through a Facebook community, whether that's through marketing, everybody, all these people have the same pain points, and then you can try to figure out what's going on with them. So you're kind of channeling their demand into your funnel. So that's just another way of looking at it. So don't think of marketing as demand gen, think of marketing as a channel, where all these people hang out over here. I need to get their attention and bring them towards me, and channeling all that demand. And then having a very singular focused offer, because anybody that you talk to, if you talk to somebody and you immediately say, well, I have 42 solutions, then you're like, oh, versus somebody that has a very poignant, to the point offer going, I do this and I sell it for this, and this is the result I can do. And here's my offer, here's my value prop, and here's how I guarantee to do it, or your money back, or whatever your offer is. Then that's a hyper-focused client, and you'll love them, and then you perform with them. Oftentimes, if you'll even try to do add-on sales, like, well, we can also do this, this, and that. I would recommend, from a marketing perspective, not even to do that. Wait till you perform for that customer, because now we want to avoid churn, meaning we don't want to lose our customers. So do that one offer, do it really well, wow your customer, and then you can go back to them. Now you are a proven entity, you're a proven quantity, you've done something that has made them money. Now you can sell your services for whatever you want, and they'll be happy to pay for it because you've delivered value. They know that your price per value delivers. Versus if you keep trying to add on all these other services on top of something that before you've even proven it, going to have another issue from a marketing perspective. So your ad spend or your email spend or anything, the more laser focused you can get into it, niche down, you will be much happier for it. And I'll give you an example. This is a Dan Kennedy example about how you can charge money by niching down. So like a time management course, this is all Dan Kennedy, not me. Like a time management course in today's world might sell for $19, like a little webinar, right? And that's just a basic time management course. Probably not a lot of value there for most of us, because we could, you could find something like that on YouTube. Okay, so then how about a time management for sales pros for $99? Okay, well, now we're getting a little bit more focused. And is it worth $99 for if it's directed for time management for sales? Yeah, probably, but still probably not that great. Then the third one would be, how about if it's time management for outbound B2B sales rep and it's $499? Well, that guy's going to be a lot more interested because it's very targeted to what he's doing. You're like, oh, I'm an outbound B2B sales rep. I would love to know how to have better time management. And then the fourth one is time management again for outbound B2B power tools and gardening sales rep. And that one's $1,500. Well, that's super targeted, right? So this is, I bring that up so to bring it full circle back into even your initial reach out. Be that laser focus. Like I'm going to dial into that one specific thing that niche does. And I'll use it for a perfect example for me in commercial insurance. My specific thing that I'm going to go for is commercial insurance agencies that specialize in a certain type of policy. That way I can do all my marketing and everything is going to be hyper focused on that one offer. And if they don't do that, then it's not my ideal client, and that's fine. And I'm moving on. So all my money and resources goes to tackling that one thing. And that is the best way to do your time. Become an expert at it. And then all the assets and all the things you create and all the learnings you create for the, when you get no's, or if you get, I'm not right now, or I don't like this, whatever the objection is, you can start building assets related to that. And then you'll have all these tools under your belt. And now whether that's a, like an ebook or some kind of other thing that people commonly will say, oh, I don't, here's my objection, and you solve it. And you start building up all these brand assets that go along with that, that just helps with your credibility and helps with, closing the deal. So very important. So I can't stress it enough. Try to be as targeted as possible. And then don't keep switching niches or blast off to like 15 different niches, because how do you test? How will you know? So, most people give up too soon. Marketing is one of those things. It's very subjective. What works today doesn't work tomorrow, and what worked a year ago certainly won't work today. So no matter how good you become, you got to really dial in that one niche and find the offer and the funnel that resonates with that audience the most. And then once you have that, you double down and you go for it. Right. So that will pay huge dividends for you if you just focus. Right. And then the other thing that I have to say too is usually what most people do to combat competition with other agencies is they keep lowering price. And this goes back to saying, still doing high ticket again too. Don't ever compete on lower price, because it's a losing battle. There's nowhere to go but down, versus upselling or going high ticket. You have everywhere to go, but it's an infinite number. You can go as high as you want, or as high as you're willing as high as you're willing to convince somebody that the value you bring is worth the money you're asking them to pay. But competing on price almost always is a lose-lose proposition. So if you're pricing your stuff because that's what everybody else does, you've created two problems from a marketing perspective. You've created no value differentiator, because now you're going to be compared to everybody that offers the same thing as you. And then it'll never be cheap enough, because now you've created no differentiator and there's no value there, versus saying, I charge all this money and I do this and I'm hyper-focused on this solution and this is what it costs and this is the ROI that I'll give you. Big difference, right? You'll be happier, your client will be happier. And again, going back, if you got one client paying you $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, and you don't have any other clients right now because you just started, how much time can you give that guy or gal or person or company and knock it out of the park for them? And then now you have all these use cases and case studies, and you go on to the next one. So again, like I said, don't lower your price points, raise your price points if you can. And don't be afraid to raise your price points from a marketing perspective, because it will create a opportunity for somebody to go, well, why is this so much more? It's psychological, right? We all want and I use Apple as the perfect example. Why is my Apple laptop 3 times the price as a Mac or as a Chromebook for $200? They both effectively do the same thing, but Apple is, one of the most profitable companies in the world for a lot of reasons that, we don't have to go into. But I'm just saying, people love, it's wine, it's all different industries. People love to pay more. So I just want to elevate everybody up that you can charge more. Trust me. You just have to have the confidence in your offer and a confidence in what you're doing, and not commoditizing yourself to the point where you're being compared to the next person. And I bring that back into marketing, saying this is why you create a very solid offer, a very singular way to attack what you're trying to say. This is what I offer. This is what I'm really good at, and this is what I can do for you, and this is how much I charge for it. And just have that confidence in there to do it, and then build out your offer. Work backwards. Okay, so your initial reach out on your cold email is a very targeted 1 sentence, 2 sentences. And then the next follow up is, hey, check out this video. And you're just doing small little chunks, and you don't bombard people, because we all get crap loads of emails. So here's the other thing in marketing that we have to worry about. So there's a value equation, and I actually stole this from another person too. So the value equation is always the top line of it is, what will I make, or how much can I make, and how will I know it's going to happen? And then you put that and you divide that over how long will it take and what's expected of me to get it done. And I'll get into that. So everybody wants the obvious, right? How much will I make? I can make you $32,000 for the year. Great. How do I know that's going to happen? So you can do that through social proof. You could do it through guarantees. There's a variety of ways that you can do that. So it's perception. You have to convince your prospect, and this is even in cold email, text messaging, demos, everything. This formula it should always be on top of mind. What's the perception of how likely it is what you're telling me is going to happen? Can you make me believe it? Right. And then the trade-off to that is, how long will it take? So the great news is I can make you $230,000 this year, but it's going to take you 18 months. Odds are that person's not going to stick around because it's too long, too long to get there. And then the other part of it is what do you expect me to do for it? If you're saying, well, I'll set you up with a whole system and all you got to do is run it yourself and expect your clients to do it, never going to happen again. So what you want to do is you want to get those, how long will it take and what's expected me? You want that number to become as close to zero as you possibly can. It's never going to get to zero, but the more you get close to that to being zero and then making the top line really good, you're going to be hugely successful. The other thing I want to touch on is markets. You want to be in a market with a couple different things here. Let me go back to my notes and make sure I got what I want here. So here are the 4 things when you're picking the market you want to do or your niche. So one, they have to have a pain, which we all do, right? Every market's got some sort of pain. It has to be a pain that you can solve, and it has to be something that's so painful to them that they're willing to pay whatever it takes to solve that problem. The second one, which I would argue is even the most important one, is purchasing power. You want to make sure the audience that you're advertising to or marketing to has the money to afford your services. I mean, and this is especially true in higher ticket stuff, but even low ticket. You want to have people that can afford to work with you. If people can barely afford the $97 or don't think $97 is a value, it's probably not the client you want anyways. You want clients that you can help long-term, right? And on the flip side of that, even if you have the best offer and the best product in the world, but your audience is broke, you're dead on arrival anyways. So you want to make sure that your purchasing power of your audience is right up there to afford the product that you want. The third one is easy to target. You need to be able to find your prospects, right? If you can't find them, you can't sell to them. And with the comment lead, you have that opportunity. There are other ways, Facebook groups, we can all try to find where our audiences hang out and you market to them. Again, either that's through cold email, text messages, videos, however you want to do it. But you want to find your market or, find out where they're hanging out. And then the final one is make sure it's a growing market. Because if it's a very well-entrenched market, but it's flatlined where there's no growth left in that market, where everybody's kind of the vultures are just feeding off each other and it's a race to the bottom, where everybody has that same solution, you're no different, there's no differentiation, so there's no growth in there. Again, you'd have a great offer, an easy to find target market, but there's no growth there. Nobody's going to pay you anything decent to do that, and you're just going to be an also ran. So those 4 things are so important when you're creating a marketing campaign. So niche it down, make sure you have those 4 things in your market, and try to be as hyper focused as you can in your offer. Can you tell somebody what you're offering in a minute or less, or in a sentence or 2 or less, that makes somebody go, yes, I need that. And the way you craft those offers by going down the niches is by understanding what your niche really wants. And going back to my example, commercial insurance broker, are you tired of losing, like the offer would be like, I can help you reactivate all of your upcoming renewals, that kind of stuff. Or I could do whatever it is. I know specifically what their pain point is for a very specific thing, and I'm going to solve that very specific thing. Can I do a bunch of other stuff for them? Absolutely. But no, I can't. Nobody's going to be interested in the 10 things I do. They're just interested in the one thing that I want to solve for them, that I know that they need to have solved right away, and that makes them money. Simple as that. All right, let me go through my notes again here real quick, make sure I got it. All right. So that's really all I had. I didn't want to go too far into it. I kind of wanted to back it off a little bit and maybe kind of have a discussion. But I know this is pretty high concept. I wasn't really giving anything like specific, like this is the email I would write. But I think for this first call, from a marketing perspective, this is the way to approach, from a mindset and a perception set of how to even get started. And hopefully that was helpful, but it looks like a lot of you guys are already, got some experience and well on your way to success. So if it was kind of like, I apologize if it was kind of a, something we already all knew, but sometimes it helps to hear it again. So
Well, it helped me, Chris, right? So I know you and I we've had this conversation prior to this a little bit, especially on the low ticket side. But if you saw me laughing, man, because I know like we talked about it, but I definitely got a different take on it this time than when we talked the other day. So, I mean, I definitely got some takeaways from it for sure, 100%.
yeah,
I think we did have some questions. If you got,
yeah.
Angelica had a question. So I don't know if you want to come off mute, Angelica, and take a go at it.
Yeah. So okay. So for high tickets, like, since I'm kind of like new, like I know you said focus on the solution, but I guess it gets a little harder when as a we coming from the coaching industry coming in, we know what the coaches are struggling with, which the more most likely is like the systems that they have are not like, they're like duct taping their system, right? So
Sure.
we're offered the streamline of that. So how would you, because I hear people say, don't focus on the system, focus on a solution. And from a brand perspective, I'm like, okay, well, the solution is that we're streamlining their process, so then they don't have to duct tape their system together, right? But I'm trying to like wrap my head around that so I can position myself in a better, because I'm a brand strategist. I help a lot of people how to position themselves, but when it comes to myself, I get like,
yeah, don't we all, when it comes to our own, I can help you, but I can't help myself. I mean, that's in all aspects of our lives, right? So I hear where you're coming from, and the way I would position it is, again, not about the so specifically what their typical problem is, but I wouldn't position it with like, oh, I have another system, because what it would come across as like, well, I'm going to paste on yet another system to help you do that. So the way I would position it is going, how much time do you spend? How much time do you waste piecing together all the different things that you have to do to create a successful campaign or a successful coaching session? Like, oh, I spend 2 hours, or whatever that discovery is, or even if you know what it is, and say, if I could free up 2 hours a week of your time to better spend on coaching or marketing or anything else, would that be of something that would be interesting to you? And it sounds like from what you would say that absolutely, yeah, I would love to have more time.
like
Great.
that.
How much is that time worth to you? This is how I'd even price it. How much is that time? What do you charge? Well, I charge, like you said, $10,000 for a 90 days. I'm just throwing numbers out here, like a 90-day session. Like, great. So that's, and how many hours is going, and then to work back and get them to work the math with you, work backwards, say, okay, great. And let's just say that it comes out to, I don't know, let's just use an easy number, $100 an hour. Great. So if I saved you $400 or 4 hours a week at $400, I just saved you $1,600 a month. Would you find that valuable? That's how I position it. We haven't even talked about the solution yet, right? We're just talking about what the pain is and I can solve it. And then they go into, well, how will you solve it? Well, I'll solve it by doing one key thing, like the one, I don't know what your niche needs specifically, but, and then try to stick with one big umbrella thing, saying I can do it by doing all these services wrapped up under one umbrella. And, that's how I would position it. I hope that helps.
Yeah, definitely. Because I don't want to like sell the software, because like everybody's selling the software, but I want to sell, like you said, the solution. So I guess that's actually a good example of freeing up their time and streamlining. So that makes more sense to me. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Does anybody else got any questions? All right. Well, okay, go ahead, Star.
Yeah, so I think that for me personally, I mean, I like to position myself on low ticket, and that's where like me and Angelica, we kind of always go back and forth on that. The same thing with coaching. Like I started coaching, selling, like my first offer was like $6,200 things. Like hitting a 10K month with low ticket was like, my first big month. So I got accustomed to that. And it's hard for me to like charge all these high ticket things for people and really think about like, okay, how can I charge go high level services to a coach that's going to be a high ticket package, unless I'm including coaching with it? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, so here's the thing. there's nothing, like I said, I'm definitely not here to rain on anybody's parade that wants to do low ticket, high volume stuff. There's definitely a business model there that's definitely effective. And especially once it gets to past a certain scale, there's definitely some profit there, but it's a different model. What I would say to you, Star, is I said, and this question comes up, or this mindset comes up a lot, right? Is what is it you're trying to do? If you're just trying to do low ticket stuff and you're not even trying to interact with anybody, that's a different pitch altogether. But if you have a high ticket item that you want to do, and I would just focus on that. Doesn't even matter like you could bundle all those services in on a high ticket item. So I would say is to put the software off to the side and going, what is it that you want? What kind of coaching can you do? And if you offer somebody that loves the coaching program that you're going to offer, and then you say, oh, by the way, I can do all these other things as a service for you if you want to throw them in. Or like I kind of talked about earlier, is narrow it down to one specific thing that you do really well, that you charge a lot of money for, and then you could downsell to the low ticket, right? Say, well, you're not ready for my coaching, but I can do your Google review automations. I could do a texting thing. And so you could package it that way. So you're still making a downsell. But I always, like I said, I'd much rather have a handful of high paying clients that I absolutely love and they love me, that are paying me a bunch of money to work on their behalf, right? Because that's what I want to do. That's what I work for. And I want to make the most possible money I can doing that type of thing. So hopefully that helped.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like to have a combination. That's been my success previously. It's just a matter of like, what would that high ticket look like? That might take me some time to, I
Yeah,
guess.
so for me, from a marketing perspective on low ticket, I would find ways to automate the sale. I would come up with a craft and offer, but even then, be specific. Don't do like, I offer these 10 different solutions for you. Pick one. Say I can do Google My Business, or I can do text campaigns, or whatever niche that you're going for. What's the one thing that they wish they had that they don't have? Two-way texting. Okay, great. I can offer you two-way texting for $47 a month, and it's a hands-off process for you, right? You set them up, done, right? And then the odds of you losing money by talking to them and supporting them goes way down. Or maybe you do let's using the two-way text as an example, say, all right, I'll set it up for you for $297, and then it's $20 a month plus usage, or whatever it is. But that's how I would position it. Be laser focused. I don't sell 15 things. I sell one thing. You need this. I know this industry. Business coaches don't have any way to, I'm just being generalizing here, but don't have a way to two-way text their clients. Or do you have a calendar follow-up system? Like, how many appointments do you do? Do you have an sequencing, a nurture sequence? Do you want to automate that? Pick one thing that GHL does awesome, which there's tons, and market the crap out of that. And once you find how that offer resonates, double down. And then you could add another service or another thing, but you know what I mean? And then now you have your entry. But that's how I do it, is take this and keep going down, 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 down. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Good. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got one. So yeah, I definitely agree. The riches are in the niches, and you just niche down as best you can. As far as the high ticket offer is concerned, I mean, in marketing, SEO is going to be, probably your highest ticket, I would imagine, or PPC. What is it in GHL? What kind of package can you offer that's going to be, $2K, $3K a month? Because I'm not seeing that right now.
Well, it depends. So I'll give you a real use case that what I did with my previous agency. So we did mortgage, right? We did hard money lending. That's who our clients were, hard money lenders, and we would charge them $3,000 to $5,000 to set up their account, and $1,000 a month and retainer plus their ad spend. And the only thing I used in GHL was all the ads pointed to a landing page. The landing page had a survey, and then I took that, and it was just a booking system, or like a booking flow, just your typical lead gen flow, very basic, and then set up a whole bunch of nurturing campaigns on it, and that's all we did, and we charged huge money for that. and then depending on, so the problem you have with that, or in my example, or what we would run into is that was kind of a do-it-yourself model, right? Like we set up all your ads and we ran your ads. We did all, we were the kind of the guy behind the scenes, but we would churn out customers who sucked at selling, right? So you have some lenders were really good at closing and others couldn't close anything. So then the value proposition kind of got out of whack with certain people, right? So that's how I would look at it, is charge based off of the result that you think you can get, and then take a percentage of that. And then it's all in how you position your offer. If you're trying to take $10,000 off the top from somebody and who doesn't know you, or 3,000 or whatever it is, before you've even had a chance to prove what you can do for them, or they don't know you, you're gonna have a really tough time selling high ticket. So the way you solve that is if you don't have the credibility or the social proof or the knowledge, is you do like the trial and you say, all right, I'm going to deliver. This is what I think I can deliver. If I deliver this, would you say it's fair to pay me this? Yeah. And then you just have to figure out what's that window that you're willing to do. What's that KPI or that metric that you both agree would be, proof, right? And then craft your offer and your high ticket based off of that. Of course, your niche has to support that dollar amount too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a different, like you said earlier, it's a mindset. You really got to kind of think about how you can really craft this very specifically for this niche, within the high level platform, but not necessarily, using everything that's there, because there is a ton, of stuff in there, obviously.
You'll get lost in the weeds if you try to sell it all. The person that tries to sell it all sells nothing. So sell something like the back of your hand, that that person, that industry or that niche really needs, and then get 3 or 4 case studies behind you. So maybe you don't start off with high ticket, but you're going to position it into high ticket. You say, I'm going to be $300 a month or $497 or whatever. I'm low ticket because I'm going to take the first 5 and I'm going to prove out my numbers. And then once you have case studies with numbers, then you say, okay, I know that this niche, I can make on average $100,000 in top line revenue. Then it's really easy to sell it, right? Because you say, I know I can do this for you, so I'm willing to guarantee I can do it for you. And it's going to cost you $10,000 to get that 100. Are you in? And then you're confident because based on averages, everything I did, everything I set up, and if you follow the plan, they're going to make $100,000. No problem. And you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. So this right. Helps bring your confidence up to sell the higher stuff. You're here to help. Don't be another, as Angelica said, don't be another person that just has yet another Band-Aid marketing or another Band-Aid software. Nobody needs more software.
Yep.
So Chris, this is kind of like exactly what I'm doing with the optometrist that I'm working with, right? So when I first talked to the receptionist, which I know her and I know him personally, right? So I'm definitely not charging him as much right there off the bat just because of that. But when I told him what I was going to charge him, he was like, he thought he was about to be paying a whole lot more, which he still was on board with, right? But the thing for me was creating that, that legitimacy factor that, okay, I've done this doctor stands behind it, right? That gives me the leverage to go approach the other practices, around in the area. Because I took a look this weekend when I was doing some edits on the webpage that I'm building for them, right? They all suck. Just about all the optometrist offices are, the practices around here, they're terrible, right?
Well, you're going to find that issue with just about every client you have terrible websites.
Yeah.
Almost all of them. None of them are designed for lead gen.
Yeah, but maybe. So, but when I get done with it, it's just it'll have that much more value because, and he'll be able to give me solid feedback on what he would definitely pay for the system that I'm putting in place for him. So I'm just putting in place a nice basic website with an about page, a little bio about him, a form for the patient to fill out if they want to request an appointment, right? A little web chat.
Well, let me ask you this, John. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Is that what he needs?
Yeah. He doesn't have any of it. That's what they want. Like they're so old school. They don't have anything really up to date,
But so that's perfectly what I was talking about. You know, you're very drilled down, but that would be a package, right? I can do this. And I wouldn't even harp on all the solutions to say, I will give you more patience by doing, I'll give you more of this by doing this.
Yeah, well, I can't give him any more patience though. Like the guy, he's got people driving from all over the state to see him because, and like he's got 40 years in the game, right? So,
But yeah, so but that's what I mean is, but that would be a package, right? Say if
yeah,
so I would package that as your website works and all the follow-up and all the cadences and all the things that you're doing for them. You create a snapshot out of that.
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah,
all right, well, this is the box I know works. If you don't need more patience, but you need better interaction, here's
Yeah.
the package I built for you. And it's going to cost you whatever. But
yeah,
you always get your clients to tell you when you get lucky enough to get a demo, the discovery call is the most important call of the whole process. You screw up the discovery call and you're going to leave tons of money on the table.
yeah. Well, so that's the plan, you know, because he's gonna like, it's basically working in my favor doing this for him because, like I said, it's going to give me the credibility for one with the others, you know, that I approach. But he will give me the solid feedback on, you know, what he thinks the value is to him. You know what I'm saying? Which will help me package the price out right, you know, to somebody else.
Sure.
So,
Is anybody else? Go for it.
If I may add, just to, you know, touching base on what Jamie was saying about the high ticket, you know, I was watching a couple webinars of those that a GHL offer to all of us as subscribers. And a guy in particular name, I think Andrew Cass or something like that, was talking about if you try to take a look at this at a higher level, it's like you can do the business in 3 ways, pretty much. It is as a standalone SaaS where you're going to offer just the features that the software will add, or you can do an agency plus, like meaning you can lead with your agency services, and in the back end you will have the SaaS, like, you know, I work in lead gen and stuff like that, but I have this other solution that will help you automate blah blah blah, or otherwise lead with a SaaS solution and add your high ticket services. And a good thing that stuck with me, because what he was trying to say is that the SaaS typically has a longer value. It's more sticky. You know, it becomes sort of like a utility bill. So in case, for example, that you're leading as a service, you know, with a high ticket service, whatever is your case, and at some point that customer is going to drop you off, which happens a lot when you're providing, you know, high ticket services, you can still downgrade that person, you know, into the SaaS, and you don't lose the client, you know, and you keep in contact with that person and stuff like that. Just wanted to, you know, contribute that, you know, in regards to what you were thinking about, maybe, you know, offering you high ticket services and stuff like that. That's
so
all.
yeah, so here's what I'll say to that. And again, I want to be very clear. I have no negative thing to say about anybody's business model. You know, there's no wrong way to do this business. It has to be what works for you. So, you know, I'm not here to pour water on anybody's ideas. That's for sure. But software is a commodity now. There's tons of other, you know, everybody has access to something that they want to use. You know, there's tons of efficiency software out there, whether it's all under one umbrella or multiple solutions. If you want in SaaS, even on low ticket, the value, unless it's so cheap that there's really no, like the gym business model where it's $19.99 a month to the gym membership, they know 80% of those people will never go there, and it's $20 because it's such a low price point that people are like, oh, whatever, it's $20. So as a mindset. But what I'm saying about the thing that you're going to find in SaaS is churn. Churn will not be your friend, and churn becomes expensive. So over time, if all you've offered is a solution, I'm not saying this is what you're saying, but if your solution month after month, and it becomes more of a, is this value worth it to me month in, month out? Am I getting my money's worth? And then if you're, depending where your price point is, you're going to be compared to all the other efficiency solutions that they have, and they may or may not decide that value proposition lines up anymore. So going back to the marketing part of it is, what solution are you solving for them? If you're just providing them access to software, that's a solution. You can do that. But if you're trying to solve a real problem, a very specific problem for them, then you charge what you need to charge that makes sense for the client and for you, and charge as much as you possibly can. Depends on how you want to look at it. But for me, like I'd much rather have a client for 90 days that paid me a bunch of money and then they churned out, oh, well, that's fine, versus, I mean, it's just a different mindset. There's no wrong way to do this. I'm just giving you my 2 cents.
Oh, no, you're the expert here. Actually, what these people were telling, the GHL people, are actually what you're saying. They're saying, no, do not offer standalone. You have to offer some value, even though, as you say, the churn will be, but you have to offer services for this business to be.
Well, and even then for leads, for example, lead gen, you can't even be successful anymore just offering people leads, because nobody's going to do anything with them unless they're expert marketers themselves. Leads are that's table stakes. Everybody can get a lead. I can pull leads by myself all day long, but what are you going to do with that lead? How are you going to market it? What's your expertise? How are you going to drive that lead from I don't know you to you're buying? That's what people want. They want the total solution, and they want as little effort on their part to have that solution. So the more success you're going to have, especially in higher ticket stuff, is can you solve their pain point from the time from the jump all the way to where they're closing business. That's what you want to do. If you put software in front of somebody, upload a bunch of leads and think that they're going to knock it out of the park by themselves, not going to happen. They're just going to churn out, you're going to have a customer for a month. That'll exactly what will happen.
And that's what my point was with the 20 lead system. That first funnel is for the clients we sell it to. We literally need to map out that strategy for them. So that first funnel, what is that strategy? There's nothing there. So it is going to require strategizing for them. So that's kind of my concern in selling it. Yeah,
which is why I kind of went on that harp about niches, being hyper-focused. That way you can pull those leads out and be hyper-focused on a very particular solution you're solving and marketing the crap out of that. And then just cold intros. You can just think about if I were to walk up to you and say, Star, do you need this, this, and that? I can do it for 30 cents a piece. And you're like, yeah, I'd like to know that. It's very specific offer, very specific, then we have a conversation, and either it lines up or it doesn't.
And Star, the white label suites like that it might not even be something that you sell to your clients. For some people, it just might be using the system to generate the leads for their own agency to market their solutions. I mean, I'm definitely going to be using that for myself. I'll probably use it more for myself than I will trying to sell it at first, $150 a month for that. It's definitely worth it, right? Gets you the information faster and quick. It would give me the information faster and quicker than I could just go out there and source it myself by doing searches, everywhere.
To Star's point though, like I download 1,000 perfect ideal clients. Now what?
Yeah. I get that. That's what I'm saying. I understand that.
Yeah.
You may have to make that call with the 20 free leads where they have the one to book a call. That's the goal eventually. That call may well have to be your strategy call, Star. Because when you get them on that call, that's where you can actually map out a strategy, because your goal is to sell them a higher ticket or something actually after they've tried the 20 free leads, or to show them how to use it. So that might be something that could be like our strategy call, where you get them on this call and you help them see the big picture on how they can use it, and you can charge them for you to set that up for them. Kind of like with the coaching sort of, where you have the strategy call and you show them the plan, and then they pay you to help them make that reality. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there.
No, you're right. So like what I would be talking about is somebody got triggered off that initial offer, and I do the discovery call. Say, great. And part of the demo is, here's your 20 leads, but that's nothing. Let me show you what we'll do with those 20 leads. And you take them through a nurture sequence.
Exactly.
You do a demo account, go, this is how you convert those 20 leads. And then the aha moment comes on, and you haven't even talked about anything. Now that's the demo. And as you niche down, you could change that funnel, even that 20 free lead funnel, into being very targeted specifically for that. It's the same offer, but you're hitting your pain point on that funnel. And then you demo it and you say, yeah, I can give you 1,000 leads, but let me show you how to effectively turn those 1,000 leads into $100,000 in revenue. Would you be interested in seeing that? Heck yeah. Let's do that. So it's the hook, and then the sale comes later. So does anybody got anything for me? Because I'm going to wrap it up here, guys.
So I do have a quick question. I guess one of my issues for me is I still have a day job. I actually work for a digital marketing company. So even though I've got freedom and some really good freedom and flexibility, I've got limited time. My concern is putting together some type of offer that's going to end up triggering a lot of service on my customer service and kind of a follow up and hand holding clients. When I'm still, and I've only been in digital marketing since last November, so I'm still fairly new to the space as well. So I don't want to get in over my head with something.
Well, then
I would service.
So I would say to you, especially, go high ticket, quality over quantity. Find out what is that one thing that you're really good at in the niche that you're going to serve, and charge as much as possible for it, and do one client and do a case study, or take your first client, don't charge them a bunch, and get all your kinks out, and then figure it out, and then charge a bunch for the next one. You're in the perfect position. You have another job that's paying your bills. This is the time to get your first 3 or 4 clients and figure out what the numbers are, and then hit the throttle.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same for me, Terry. I sell insurance during the day all day, and then I afterwards jump into all of this, and I'm I don't know if you can stay up all hours of the night, but I do.
I
But
do too.
yeah, yes, and there's some nights that I don't even sleep. But I do enough right now to have some traction and be able to pay my bills, because I'm also working and I'm able to pay my bills that way, right? But when it comes to the point where once you've got it figured out and you really start having that momentum, there are those customer services for Go High Level that other agencies provide that are really good and have some really good value that you can put in place to help that part of your business.
I'm going to sorry to cut you off, John, because
you're fine.
I'm stuck for time, but I'm going to leave you guys with one last thought based off of what you just said. And this will be perfect for you guys. I'd much rather create deals, charge a bunch of money and create demand or create opportunity that I can afford to, and then fix the efficiency later. If you try to be efficient in the beginning and then try to you'll spend all your time doing efficiencies that nobody cares about. Bring in the money, bring in the client. Don't worry about how you're going to get it done. There are plenty of people in this community, people you can hire, all types of resources. Just get that client. You got $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 from somebody, and say, raise your hand, say, I got this client. Now what do I do? And whether you have to pay somebody or somebody will jump in and help you out, it's always easier to fix it with money than have no money to do anything. So I'll leave you with that final thought.
Hey, Chris, man, we appreciate
Thanks, Chris.
your time tonight, man. Really do.
So, I'll say one more thing. If you guys want to do this again on another call, let me know and post in the group what specifically some topics you want to talk about, and we can do a little bit more, because today I just went kind of big picture.
I know exactly what the next topic is going to be. I'll let John know.
Okay. Listen, guys, I gotta jump. It's been great talking to you guys. Thanks for listening to me. Like I said, I'm no expert, but I've been doing it a long time. So
appreciate you, Chris.
Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
I'm not fixing to close the group or anything, but I am going to stop the recording